What I wanted to talk about today. One is, last week we talked about various things that the Outercurve Foundation wanted to do around Shard, and I mentioned the possibility of having a theme contest. One of the ways we could make things more interesting with the theme contest would be to actually make it a redesign contest for our aging website. Our website is really starting to look like something very different from what it should be. It was probably the starting project, but currently it's probably really lacking when you compare it to
just me, or is
CMS websites. The sound is awful.
It's just polling. What do you think, guys, from him? Or is it good?
It's not the best, but I can make it out.
Okay, you could make it out the same. Okay.
I can stop video and try to see if that improves
yes,
things.
Please.
Okay, so is this better?
Right now it's okay.
Well, I'm having trouble hearing you guys. So, yeah,
no, I don't. Keep talking. I can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay.
No one's talking. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think of that? Should we?
I thought about it, and the issue might be it's not really related to our chart itself. Maybe people will come with just designs and not implementation, and also it's very linked to what we want to put on a website and all the content, and we haven't discussed it at all. So, you know, it's like a loop. We think about some content, and the designer, okay, we should put it there and organize this way. Oh, we forgot this content. Okay, so we have to change it and put it this way.
Yeah, that's a good point. We should have contents first, and we do have some contents. We'll probably want to change some of the navigation, some of the pages that we have there. But yeah, we could. That should probably not to test. But once we have the rough idea of the content organization that we want, then having a design contest for the actual theme would probably work.
Well, personally, I would rather go to the contest for our chart themes in general. So, and then in the end, we have multiple teams. One is winning, but we still have lots of them on the gallery.
Okay, well, we may want to have two categories for it. Maybe people could create themes and say, okay, well, I think this one would be a good candidate for the website. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to know what Ryan.
We could have a default theme category, for example, and the project site category.
Sorry, what's the project site category?
Yes, categories. Yes.
No, I said what is it?
What is what?
A project site category.
Do you want me to Google that for you? I'm not sure I'm following.
It's fine, don't worry. I'll Google it myself.
Okay. Second topic that I wanted to talk about is switching to 4.5 as the mandatory .NET version that our chart one would require. We've talked about it before, but we've never made a firm decision on it. There are a few features that we'd like to in 4.5. Sébastien can probably elaborate on that, and then we should probably vote on that and make a final decision. Sébastien?
I can't elaborate on that.
You can't? Okay,
nope.
So let's vote.
Sorry.
I vote for.
Well, do you?
So, committee members, please. Unless people have something to say about it first before we vote. Any objections or against it, or any good reasons to go ahead and do it? Async, WebSockets.
Any issues
those
with backwards
should be enough.
compatibility?
Okay. What?
Any issues with backwards compatibility?
No, today we run on 4.5, so it's backward compatible. We just don't require it. But today we run on 4.5, so
Okay.
which means it works.
And does that impact any gallery, any modules in the gallery as well that may not run on?
No, they still will work because they are on 4.0, and because 4.5 breaks nothing in theory, they still work and they will still work. But now, by requiring 4.5, we need the servers, the web servers, to be running 4.5. So the hosters to have upgraded to 4.5, and 4.5 was released in last September. So they have time. They should have time.
They've had time already to.
So I'll vote yes.
Yeah, one thing to know, we found a nuance when we installed 4.5 in our web form. We had to reset our machine keys and make sure they were right, because the installer, I think, I mean, this is just from my experience. I don't know if it was just us or if it's for everybody, but we did have to reset our machine keys after we installed .NET 4.5. So just be mindful of that.
That's something to note for the deployment and the upgrade scenario, just to check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and also it should be fast because we can use the new things from 4.5 in terms of multi-core JITing, so faster things too. So 4.5 it is.
Okay, who hasn't voted yet?
Me, I vote.
What?
Piotr. But who do we care? Because we are.
Sipke. Me.
Ylan voted yes, you voted yes, I voted yes, so we don't care.
Okay. So,
It's math.
no, I mean it's unanimous apparently.
Okay.
I think Sébastien should have a demo.
Yep.
I've seen one yesterday, so.
And you will see new stuff too.
Any other demos before Sébastien takes the ground?
I have a demo of Associativity.
Stage. Okay. Sébastien, do you mind if we do the other ones first?
Okay.
I'd like to also talk about Harvest a little bit during the meeting, if possible.
Yeah, okay, let's do that now.
Okay. So I've reached out to the Portuguese community, the Spanish community, the Russian community, French, Swiss, Belgian. That was handled via Antoine, so thank you, Antoine. And the Hungarian via the two crew here that's always in attendance. Thank you guys as well. So the other communities are promoting the event, and I'd like for us to do more. Actually, I got via the Spanish community, the geeks.ms is willing to put up a banner up on their site for free. So there's more of that kind of marketing that we'd like to be able to do. So if anybody here has any specific ideas or channels that we can reach out in various European communities or other sites or other bloggers or other influencers, please send me an email at ylan@orchardharvest.org. So Ylan, Y-L-A-N, @orchardharvest.org, and then I can take it from there and try to push the message out further. We also sent out a couple more email reminders for those that had already pre-registered. We've also sent out another email to the listserv about submissions for speakers. We've got a lot of interested parties who are requesting to speak, which is really great, but this final submission is April 15th. And then last but not least, I got a bit of feedback, and if there's other feedback from people, the fact that the site doesn't have an agenda right now is making it difficult, at least for one person, to be able to go back to their employer and say, look, there's a conference, but I don't have an agenda. So I'm going to put up a stub agenda, which is subject to change based off of speakers, so that maybe will help people who do have that issue to be able to go to their employer and explain why they need to go to this conference. Is there any other feedback that anyone's been hearing out in Twitter, blogging, community, anything at all? Or anything more we can do via Codeplex or Stack Overflow? Because I have posted to LinkedIn on the groups there.
I have a remark against for the website. What is the link between Mohammed Ali and Orchard?
Hopefully it just inspires you to do better. Because unfortunately, we were looking for quotes from members of the community, and everything that we found in your transcripts
was boobs inside. That's it. Just
was not suitable for everybody. Unfortunately, Sébastien, as great as your mind is, it wasn't suitable for the public.
Oh, that's sad.
Okay, that's the reason. So hopefully, it just inspires you. Okay. Any other constructive feedback or comments?
I reached out to the guys at Basketball University, and the comments I got back were, I'm not sure whether my wife would let me go to Amsterdam for the week, for a couple of days.
That I can't help. You know, if they have personal trust issues, I can't help that. That being said, you were on this.
Well, he can say, okay, I go to Amsterdam, you can go to Santa Monica.
Right. But for Nick, I put you on this email string of all the guys that were interested in coming or were fostered a conversation because of the first conference in Santa Monica. So I put everybody on the same UK string, the UK crew email. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did see it.
Okay.
I don't really know any of those guys, but I'll reply anyway.
Yeah, just if you can just sort of help the banter a little bit.
There's a few guys that I do know that are going. Alan Every, for example, is going.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him at Bath, and he's working somewhere else now on Orchard. But yeah, I'll ask them again and see if maybe they'll change their minds. But.
Okay. Or gauge interest and see what the feedback is. That would be helpful too.
Yeah, well, there's a couple other people as well. So I'll pass some emails on to you because I know there's a few other companies in London that don't follow Twitter or any of that stuff. So I'll send you their emails.
Great, thank you. Last but not least, we're still looking for additional support and sponsors. So if anybody knows a company that's interested, please also reach out to me, Ylan at orchardharvest.org. We have some, events or dinners or lunches that are still available for sponsorship, so that would be great. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Ylan. Sipke?
Zoltán. Oh, sorry.
Zoltán first?
I don't know. I think Zoltán has something, but
I could go. Sipke?
Yeah, that's okay.
Alright, then I share my screen. Okay, so I would like to show you briefly my platform Associativity, but it's connecting still. Alright, so this platform, I like to call it as such because it's really something you can build on as a developer or.
Can someone see anything?
Sorry?
No, I can't see anything yet.
Nothing to see it.
I'm not showing anything because I see it's just connecting.
It's loading now for me.
Okay.
Alright. So Associativity is about knowledge bases, and knowledge bases that are networks of nodes and connections between them, where these connections are associative connections in the human sense. So two nodes in this network are connected if you can associate as a person from one to the other. You should be able to see it.
It's still loading.
It's still loading. Alright, probably my ISDN is also choking on data. But let me know when you can see it.
Benedek? Because I can see it.
I can see it now.
Yep.
Alright, Benedek can see it. Okay, so basically Associativity is a suite of modules. There is one core, and there are several others to extend it and build upon the core. So the core just contains the low-level services that you can use to store graphs of content items. So you can think of this also as a kind of data storage for interconnected content items. But if you use the other tools, like the front-end engines as well, then you can also see the graphs. I hope most of you can actually see my screen, so it's worth showing. Because what we have here, this graph, this is just a demo graph, so it's also on associativity.com, the project homepage. It's just a demo graph, but it shows the concept, and I will show you some slightly bigger graphs later. That this graph is just some notions connected, how I saw they will be connected. For example, here is electricity connected to some related terms. Here are some colors connected to color. It's spelled like in British English, so that's probably not something everybody wants to see. So this is a graph stored in Associativity, but the main point is not visualizing graphs, although this is possible, and it's possible in such a zoomed manner, like you can fetch various layers with various number of nodes until you can see the whole graph, if it's not too big to be shown. But the real point here is to be able to search this. Like, I could search for color here. This is an autocomplete text box here, and by the way, it's using one text branch with multiple indices, multiple search indices. So this is using Lucene in the background, this matching. So if you search for one node, it shows the neighbors. So this is something simple, but you could create other queries, like we have electricity. It's here again, and we have green, what is, by the way, listed here as a color. And we have green, and if I search for this, it returns solar power, among others. So this is where it is quite like syncing. So the point here is to make a software that kind of like thinks like you would, like how your mind has connected nodes of pieces of information. This is of course very small example, but it works for bigger graphs as well. But before I show you a bigger graph, there is another option. Because this is a small graph, you can look at the whole graph at once. So this is really the whole graph. But for bigger graphs, this is not shown because it would just crash your browser and the underlying database and everything. But to explore bigger graph, you could use this explore feature, as this button here, that comes up if you hover a node. If you click explore, it will fetch the partial graph that contains the nodes reachable at a certain distance from this node. So this is how you can explore a graph, and all these nodes here are content items, regular content items. So such graphs in Associative can store arbitrary items of arbitrary content types. These content items are of a very small type. These just contain a label. But for example, on our English blog at Orchard Hungary, we have a graph that's generated. It's here. It's generated by taking the text from all our blog posts. So this is another graph. It's dynamically generated, and it contains blog posts. So we have some blog posts here. These are linked to the blog posts behind them. Now this is the concept, and it's something cool to use for knowledge bases. And if you want to have interconnected content items, and it also works for bigger graphs. So I've made that tool to extract inner linkings of Wikipedia articles from Wikipedia dump files. So as you may know, there are XML dumps from Wikipedia. These are huge several hundred megabytes and several gigabytes XML files. And I've created a tool that pushes the connections that could be extracted from these dumps to an orchard instance, and this is here. So it takes the Wikipedia articles, and if there is a link between two Wikipedia articles in the same wiki, so this is just for the English Wikipedia, then it stores it as a connection. So as you can see, this has like 900,000 nodes and like 2.6 or 2.7 million edges between these nodes. This is just partially the Wikipedia. I just started to process it. So this is just a fraction of Wikipedia. There are actually like 6 million nodes or 6 million articles in the English Wikipedia. And if I open this up, I will get the graph of Wikipedia articles, and as you can see, the United States is in the center of Wikipedia. So the United States is in the center of everything, apparently Wikipedia as well. And this is usable in the same way. So this graph is stored in memory. The whole graph is in memory as a hash set. So this has its limits, but it's working fast. But you can also use the Neo4j graph database. So I have a Neo4j graph database. Well, it shows nothing, but it's running. It's a Neo4j graph database in the background. It's a real graph database, so you can store even bigger graphs there. It's not always faster. For smaller graphs, this in-memory representation is always faster. It's actually persisted in the SQL database, but it loads everything into the memory on the first hit. But you can store this in Neo4j as well. So I don't know, we could search here. I don't know what United States could possibly be interconnected to, but I don't know, like United States in peace, what feeds the US and peace. And there are some nodes that I don't know what there are, but apparently these are the interlinks in Wikipedia articles between the article piece and the United States. At least as
29 BC is probably the last year that the United States wasn't involved in a war.
Yeah, probably. I have no idea how this is connected, but apparently it's connected in Wikipedia, and yeah. So that's it. I think it's a tool that can give you some flexibility and some power for organizing and categorizing content items in a slightly different way than what we have seen before, because you can have really a mesh, an interconnected network of pieces of knowledge or rather content items here. That was for me. Do you have any questions, probably?
Yeah, Zoltán. So are you using the Gremlin or Cypher graph languages to query the underlying graph, or?
Yeah, it's actually using both. The queries are quite simple. Yet there is the Neo4j client library that I use to access the Neo4j database through RESTful services, and it has support for both. So for some simpler queries, I use Gremlin, like fetching the neighbors of a nodes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Cool.
For path findings, I use Cypher queries.
Cool.
Okay, thanks. Sipke?
Hey guys, how is the sound?
Yeah, good. I can hear you good.
Okay, great. Okay, so well, as we all know, Orchard has the notion of widgets. but I've seen many users creating layers per content item so that they could add widgets for those pages. So I thought maybe it would be useful because sometimes you have to create websites that are more like brochure websites. Then it would be useful if you could add widgets to content items. So I created a little module that I would like to show you and get your opinion on. So let me share the screen.
It's already awesome, I can tell you.
Yeah, we've wanted that for so long.
Yeah.
So thank you for implementing it.
Okay, but then I hope I won't disappoint you. So what I did was implement a part called widgets host part, widgets container part that you can attach to a content type, for example, the page. Widgets container, and it enables content items to contain widgets, removing the need to create a layer rule per content item. So when you attach it, and
not saying that you could have also, or maybe you have created a new content type called widget page, which just has this part.
That's totally possible, absolutely.
Maybe you should be out of the box with the module.
That's a good one. Yeah, I'll add that to the migration. That makes sense.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah. Okay. So for now, we attach it to the page content type. So, for example, I prepare the contact page, and when we scroll down, here we see a widgets section.
That's why here the tabs will be better because it's huge.
Yeah, exactly. It's huge. Yeah, tabs will be a good idea. One widgets per tab. So each tab would represent a zone, but then we will have a large set of tabs, don't you think?
No. I mean, there will be a tab for this part. This part will render in a tab.
Oh yeah.
You see,
I see.
So.
Yes, exactly.
Like
yeah, cool.
general and then a widget tab and.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so let's add something to this page. For example, to the aside second, we can, the custom form widget, for example, contact. I prepare the contact form submission content type. When we save, we get back to the content item to which we added. As you've noticed, because clicking this add button takes you to another page, I had to save the page as a draft. So that's something to keep in mind. If we scroll down, we see that we now have a contact widget added to the aside second. When the front end, we have the home page, the about page, and the contact page now has a contact form widget. So this gets rid of the requirement to add a layer per content item if you want to, attach widgets per content item. That's it. That's the demo.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. Thanks. I have one question, which is, how do you see the interaction with widgets from regular layers?
Yeah, so currently I didn't touch the widgets module itself. This is all done in a contrib module. So I had to use a layer because a widget needs to be assigned to a layer, otherwise you will get errors. So what I did is I created an implicit layer, which looks like this. When you go to widgets, you'll see a layer called content widgets. And this will contain all the widgets added to content
so it's like
items.
A dynamic layer.
Yeah, and it will never render itself. This layer will never activate, but when the content item is rendered, it will the the widgets container part will load in all the widgets and render them.
So which leads to the discussion we already had, or so the idea would be that maybe we should not use widgets directly, but have something else like snippets, and could be more granular than widgets, and maybe also have a bridge between snippets and widgets, so that we could have widgets as snippets, something like that. And,
yeah,
and not,
because I was thinking about that.
So this is sounding more and more like
yes, that's the first part, and then you could also have snippets with as we also design, I think, in the forums or in my head, in my notes, the inline editing in the admin, so that when you are on the page, you don't even have to go to a dedicated user page to edit the thing. You could in place edit stuff and drag and drop things in zones, but that's a different. That's a next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the draftable part and versioning part of widgets also has to be thought about, and then shapes also. I mean, shapes is the light version, or my interpretation is a light version of a widget and more easily placed. That should also be incorporated into the snippets concept. The end user doesn't care whether it's a widget or a shape or a part or a field. They just want to be able to add something to the page and manipulate it.
Yeah, that's why I say it should be more granular.
Yep, I understood. Just adding to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That's nice. Yeah, the reason I use widgets because it was easier to create a custom thing like snippets, but now you can reuse the widgets that are out there.
Yeah, I think this is the right first step, because it reuses what already exists without fundamentally changing things. But yeah, for future versions, we need to think about how we would refactor this to be more universal, and how we would make it work with other similar efforts that exist.
Right. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, Sipke, how much time did you spend on this?
Saturday afternoon. Well, to be honest, the entire Saturday.
Okay, but still, that's in one day what you achieved.
Yeah,
I mean, if we all sort of focused on this concept over a short period of time, I mean, I feel like we would have a really decent.
What did you say?
Solution.
Focused?
Yes, focused.
Oh yeah, I like it.
I first started out implementing it using dialog screens, but so I wasted 4 hours doing that, because then I realized that the widget editors, they don't render well in a dialog because of
they will. You just don't know how to do it. They will. I can tell you.
Okay. Please.
I will show you today.
Okay.
Great.
I look forward to that.
Excellent segue. So, Sébastien, if you want to take the floor.
Should I sing too and dance and? Joe, tell me when you see my lion. There's a lion. Yeah, and tell me when Benedict says he can't see it, because I don't see him writing or anything.
So,
yeah, let's talk. Last week, Piotr asked what library I was using for the upload thing, and it was FineUploader, and he said it's GPL, and I said no, it's MIT, and he was right, and I were right. Actually, they changed the licensing the day I demonstrated it. That's why he saw the GPL, and that's why I was saying it was MIT. The version I have used was MIT, so it's still MIT. The issue was we could not get any more support from it, because now there will be GPL, and all the subsequent releases will be GPL. So we decided to drop this library and use another one, which is MIT only and not GPL, and should not go GPL. We hope not. So the new library we are using now is called jQuery upload file, something like that. Yeah, jQuery upload file.
It's loaded for me.
Okay, so I will show you. So I refactored it. I re-implemented it using the new library and with the same features and also worked better on some implementation. So here I have features. I click on import. It's the same thing. I click on my computer. Same thing. And here you see it says click here, drop files or paste images. Okay. So I can click and I can select everything here. And I will open, and there is progress bar now for each of the items. You don't see correctly, and because it's remote. And when the file is uploaded, it will download the thumbnail for the file. Okay, and you can see it appearing dynamically. So here, all those files have been imported, and I see. And same thing for a video. So if I close, it goes back to the same location where I had the folder, and you see all the images. They are duplicates because I have duplicates on my file system. Okay. You can still select images by clicking on them and have the metadata on the right. New thing is this thing. So if I create a new folder, for instance, video. Okay. Oh, it's a subfolder here. It's okay. So I click on videos, and I will import a video. So I will go on my computer, click, select a video. So there is a progress bar. This one is better when it's a video because it's bigger, and then the thumbnail I can close, and you see I close and it stayed on the same folder. And now also what happens is that when I click on picture, you can see a progress bar because everything is in Ajax, so I'm showing the progress. And if I go back, it goes back to video, which itself is Ajax. Okay, so I have implemented the history on Ajax calls. And that's why also it's working when you click import and then close the folder. So it keeps the flow of navigation, and even though it's Ajax. And also you might see it. No, yes, you see the infinite scroll. I think I could not show it last week for you because I was. So and then I am at the end. So there is also infinite scroll here, but I couldn't show it last week. So I did it, and then I created a new module, and this module I will enable. It's called Image Editor, so I enable it. When I go to Media, it goes on Pictures by default, okay, loading. And if I select an image, on the right now, this module has injected an edit here for the image, for the file itself. So if I click on Edit, let me take another image because I made a mistake. Is this one? Yeah. So you see here the full image, okay, original size. It's 1600 by 900, so that's why it's huge image. Okay. So you see here also some comments. So first thing I will do is resize it, and when I click resize, I see some options. Here I will say 800. Shut up. Apply, so it's applied, okay, 800, and then I will crop it. So if I click crop, I can define the width and height by hand, or I can move the cropping section. Okay, let's just take the head, and I apply it, and my image is this one. Then I can apply some filters, for instance, brightness. Okay.
What library are you using to do that?
Yeah, don't do your Piotr later. Apply, and then I go to preset, and you see preset there. It's like the Instagram filters. So I can select this one because it's beautiful lion, or this one. Then I say apply, and then if I save, it goes back to the screen. Oh, it lost the location. I should fix it. And you see the image now is this one, 941 and 416. And this is the image. So, Nick, I'm using multiple libraries. For the cropping, it's JCrop. For the effects, it's Kaman.js.
Okay.
I tried some of them, but Kaman.js was working both on IE and Chrome, and worked and was simple to use. So this is the edition of the image. I have something else, but you see it's very nice because you click edit, resize, okay, 200, apply, save, and it's lost, but see up now 200 by 160, done. And it's completely extensible. So when you see things here, they are just injected by drivers. So this is a shape, and the shape just renders a button. And there is another shape that will be injected in the option zones. So this one is also another shape. So which makes it very easy from external modules to extend everything you have here. And everything is done on client side. So close, and yeah, something else. So if I go now to create a new page and I inject an image, so this is the old media picker, but right now we don't care. I go to images and I will select this one. And if I click on the image, I got a new icon on the right, edit image. I click edit, and I have the same editor, but in a dialog. And Sipke, this editor is rendered using shapes and zones and everything in CSS styles.
Yeah, I didn't mean that you couldn't render content items in the dialog, but you know, the thing is, what do you do when the widget requires scripts that needs to be loaded?
You can. I will show you. I'll show you.
So did you create a custom theme or something for this?
No, it's just you need to reproduce this kind of the layout inside your view. I will show you. It's very easy.
Okay. Because I tried and then I failed.
Yeah, okay. Bertrand?
Why is this in a pop-up window?
Because I wanted it to be in a pop-up window. Because I don't want to. I didn't want to save the page as draft to be able to edit the image. You see?
Yeah, pop-up windows suck.
Yeah. Okay. Next step will be actually to have a the no pop-up, the overlay as a frame. Yeah, that's what we defined for the media too. But it was easier right now, just for the demonstration. I made it 1 hour before the meeting, so I needed to make it work.
I forgive you.
Thank you. So, and you see the same thing here, and I didn't import the CSS for this page, just for the site. So 200, apply, and if I save, you see the image in my body has been updated with a new one. So you can in place edit the images. What I haven't finished is the paste. I was about to do it, but I had not enough time to do it. So the idea is that same thing from the, I didn't show you, it's same thing from the media. So if you go here in pictures and you say import, but you saw that last time from my computer, if I select an image and I just paste it, you see it's pasted. So the idea is to implement the same thing in the body too. So you just paste something that you have copied from in the clipboard, and then you can also edit it and change the dimensions and whatever. Yep, done. Next step, implement this pasting in the body part because it's very useful for bloggers and developers because we use a lot of copy paste from images, and start implementing the media library picker, where we have the same screen where we can select multiple items and define how we want to render those items, like in HTML, speaking HTML, like as a gallery, as a whatever. formatting you want. Extensible. Next step. So maybe next week, demo.
Great. This is looking great.
Going again, edit.
And it's not using tables. Oh, yeah.
No. No more presets. Up. Black and white. Apply. Oh, let's crop it. I just want this one. Apply. Save. Done.
It's fast too.
And, why are you using Ajax for the initial page load as well here?
For the initial? You mean?
Page load here. So the image list is loaded by Ajax.
Yes, because it's easier to handle everything from the client side than one thing from the server and the rest from the client side. So if you go there like this, you just go to the index of the media manager.
And it also means that you can navigate faster.
Well,
I don't see an issue with that actually, and it's easier to implement because it's the same code for everything.
yeah. I'm sure it's easier. It's just if you want to see the images, it actually loads slower because
No,
it's a.
but, well, it's either you wait before seeing everything or you wait before seeing just the images, because this is the same amount of time which will happen. Actually, there is only one server-side query to get everything. It's not one query per item. So
Yeah, I don't see why it would be slow.
I would argue in your favor if it was a client-side, a front-end or a user-side view, like for Google Search or SEO. But here, we don't care about SEO, so we can load everything dynamically.
Okay.
Okay. Antoine has some questions. Can you rename files? Not yet.
Not yet.
You will be able to.
Well, do you?
Well, you will be able to change the title of the content item. Really.
You can already. The question.
Yeah,
is,
it's a content item.
Yes, edit title. You see here, my image. I showed it last week. Okay, save. It should go back.
You don't really care about renaming the
file itself, yes. You have it today in the media storage, if we keep it, so you can go to image and change the file name, but do you care?
And his other question is, does edit always make a copy of the original? And I think this is similar to...
Sorry.
Whether we could actually apply the transformations as a command pattern so that it's non-destructive, the way Lightroom or Aperture do it.
Yeah, right now it's overwriting the file. So if I edit this is already working with the file itself. So if I edit the file, it will save on the file itself. I have some client cache issues here because I'm using the same image names over and over the demos. So. But yeah.
Could you show us quickly how you implemented the pop-up? Because I understand that you created your own layout for the pop-up, but
it's not really a layout. It's so the ID, and it's already used, for instance, in the media picker dialog. Mm-hmm. So the idea is to do that. But if you use an overlay in an A-frame, it's easier. Because I know it won't. No, it's the same issue. You still have to reuse the same technique. So the idea is that, let me show you, image editor. If I go to this view, admin edit, this is the one used for the dialog. You see, you define your kind of layout. You say what you need to inject using the resource manager, and then you render meta, head script, head links, style sheets.
Sure,
and also,
I get, but how do you, because this is the layout, where do you new up the layout shape?
You don't need the layout shape because the layout shape is used by those things.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need the layout?
Oh, okay.
And so, if you want to inject another shape, you do it there. And,
I see. Okay, so that's where I went wrong. Oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
Because you don't want navigation, you don't want everything. You want to specify exactly what you need. And,
exactly.
And there is another example where what you do is, oh, let's include the site CSS from the, you see theme / the admin, and you say site CSS if you want to reuse exactly. What I did is I copy pasted this CSS for what I needed. But
okay, cool.
And why is it not HTML5, the doc tag?
I just copy pasted the default layout, or the media picker. I didn't care. Sorry.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so let's switch to triage. We have 67 proposed.
Can we add some comment about the reasons why we want to do it?
I can't recall the reasons.
Isn't that just part of admin themes in general? Or
if it's
or do you want something more dynamic?
So today the only dynamicity we have is the edit, the build display, the build edit, which is where you can drag and drop and reorder things, but you can define zones. Or maybe it's also related to groups. Where admin shapes get rendered.
Sipke, can you elaborate on the scenario here?
Doesn't remember, he said.
Yeah, I can't recall. Last time we spoke about this, I just made a quick note. There was someone who had a good argument, if I recall, but I can't recall the argument.
So we need to look back at the video.
Sipke, was it you and I that talked about this? I can't recall.
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
Let's look back. Let's look the previous video.
So today we have this placement, edit placement, where we can position parts, reorder them, but it's inside the same zone, so we can't move them in other zones. Maybe we could extend it to show the other zones and move them. That's a possibility. And there is no need for editing the placement because it's overriding the placement.
Right.
And
we can tweak or modify the placement of shapes using shape table provider. Is that correct?
Yeah, the placement is implemented like that. The placement in file. So
exactly.
And that's how this thing is also implemented.
Then I'm not sure.
Well, let's add some notes about this one later. Yeah, this one is important. So with the new Hibernate version, they define their own JetBrain attribute, which we also define. Issue is that we can't remove it, because otherwise it will break some external modules which use it. And what we can do is remove it from Hibernate if we edit the source code and change it. And we already do some change on the source code in the version we use right now, so it's doable. And I don't know if there is a way to tell the compiler, or like a general using statement to say that you should use this one instead of this one.
Well, you could add some compiler time checking around one of the classes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there is a
source code.
Okay, blog archive post count incorrect for current month. I will check this, but it has been changed. There's been a big change lately on this one too, so I think it should be already fixed. Category parameter to filter tokens. Ooh. So do you have an example of token that we should not show in an example of a context?
Yeah, this is something that dives up at one stop. So there are like dozens of tokens, dozens of token providers, and for example, there are some tokens that are only used for some entities loaded from a web service, but these are not same to use on every places, because
Okay.
on every places is that entity loaded for in the token context.
But here it's an opt-in that you are describing, which means, so I mean, you wrote an opt-in scenario, which is I want to define which categories I want to see. And you're describing an opt-out scenario, which means I don't want to see this web service token.
Another remark that I would do is that it's kind of a mistake to expose data that is not unique as tokens. Tokens are supposed to be environmental variables that are supposed to kind of always make sense everywhere. So
Yeah, but how to solve?
I would have to look at the exact scenario, but it sounds a little wrong. But maybe I'm wrong on that.
Bertrand, if you want to look at all the different token providers that we've both client and server side that we've created for the various purposes, let's do that, and then we could use that as a use case too, because it becomes unwieldy when you really have, even let's say they were all generic, okay, period. It can become very unwieldy when you have such a long dictionary to find the appropriate tokens, or to expose the ones that the end user might be actually looking for.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's navigation.
Yep, because today we have just we made a list because there were a few tokens. Now they could be huge, and that's not browsable. Yeah. So maybe we need to change how we find tokens, and maybe it could be like a kind of a pop-up. So when you click on this, you have more navigation. You can see groups, categories, and
Oh, yeah, but
search.
Because we could use the same tagging mechanism that we're thinking about for media. So using taxonomies again to sort of organize tokens.
They are not content items. So
okay, so then you can't do that.
if I could add one thing, speaking about the filtering of tokens. Maybe it would be good to have something like when you display a list of available tokens for a tokenized field. So each token provider could be able to specify, for example, to check if a given item is available in a token context, because there are lots of scenarios when you have content tokens, but you're using a tokenized field without any content item. So it's
I don't agree. I don't agree because the context will change as long as you type tokens. So you start with a field, but you say dot content item, which itself is a content item. So you can then chain with content tokens.
Yeah, but it's more like about the initial tokens that are available in a starting context.
That's why I think the only solution is to help find filter tokens in a new UI. You can't know when you type your shape what will there will be there. For instance, there is a token for emails. What do you think there will be inside? There can be anything. Comments, content, fields. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. It makes sense just for very specific scenarios, and
yeah, it will be extremely hard to maintain it, and yeah.
So a nice UI with filtering, categorization, and drill downs, and
yeah, probably with some additional information that you could
description,
specify. Yeah, that this token should be only used for content items or something like this. So you could describe it.
Mm-hmm. I put it in future versions, but if we decide what we want and someone can do it, let's take it. It's lost the context again. Should try here. Okay, this one is easy. If approved, bring assigned to me and I will handle it. Sure. Is this a new one?
I think that's down to the issue you had on the migrate, where it was doing select count from, and it needed to be select count star.
Oh,
potentially. I don't know.
Well, it's different message. It says it requires a transaction.
Okay.
I think it was fixed already. It was when you executed the SQL query, it was not enlisted in a transaction, but it's fixed now. I think I had the same issue.
Okay.
At some point, but I recall that Sébastien, you fixed that with some of the latest changes.
Thank you. Same thing. Yeah, requires a transaction. Same issue. Okay.
Content permissions. Oh.
My favorite topic. Cross-module mapping. of two projects with same name part. Ooh. No, we don't support. Okay, so yeah, it tries to use the two parts with the same name across two projects, but we don't handle that. Parts don't have namespaces, so we closed. Ooh. You vote on that, Bertrand? It says updated.
Remember?
Because it says updated and there are two votes. So,
yeah, I know, but
okay.
I think I've seen this before, and that's also with the API, web APIs, API controller. Then we decided maybe we should remove the transaction scope, and that's solved. I haven't seen this one again, but looking at the date, March 5th, not sure.
Yeah, that was before the transaction scope change.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks
Okay,
like this
so
should
then
be
it's fixed.
That is solved. Yeah.
And there is a big one actually issue that I think has been reported is the background services don't work anymore, and I know I've done some changes on this one, so maybe I broke it, and we haven't triaged it again yet. So taxonomy's projection don't respect role-based visibility. Yeah, it's open somewhere else. We need a projection filter for security. So you can apply security on projection results.
Yeah, because we don't want everybody to pay for that scenario, right?
Yes. Yeah, and more generally, more keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah.
Control Shift as publication, and Control N the new and. I put feature version because it's a new feature, but we can talk about it if we want in a meeting and try to see what we need, the basic ones, and if someone wants to implement it, let's take it. It's safe. Yeah. Do I write it correctly? Let's. Like this or like this?
Let us do. It's like, yeah, like this.
Zoltán broke everything. True.
Yeah, but file existence check for privacy.
And well, I have added more. So you're not the only culprit. I have added a get local URL. There is a get public URL, but I have added the get local URL to do the reverse. So when you have a public URL, try to find the local URL to see if the file exists locally.
Oh, that would be actually very useful, yeah.
Yeah, I'm using it in the media manager for some reasons. That's not too bad.
I think we've already spoke about it, about sandboxing the modules. It would be good to have, if you install a module, then it should be sandboxed and before actually being included into the instance. If it breaks or just does something wrong. But it's a major thing to do.
Well, the best sandbox is your development machine. You try it before putting it in production. If it doesn't work, you don't put it in production, so you don't break the website.
Yeah, I know, but you know, I'm just thinking about a scenario when you have some blog running on some shared hosting and you have just one site, and you know, for people that are not developing their application locally, and
then the workaround is to disable the module by renaming it, and then you disable it. So this is a solution. We can't prevent modules from doing bad things. They will throw exceptions in some cases. They will work, but they throw an exception with this parameter. What can we do? The exception has been done. It's too late. So I don't think there is anything to do. I understand your sandbox, but in this, I think the sandbox thing is already open. This thing, I will close it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, but yeah. So my idea was that we should keep the text. This text medium class is bad because we have text large, text small.
Yeah, but we can. I mean, this is easy to fix.
Yes,
we can maintain backward
yes. So add new ones and yeah. Okay.
It's a good one. It's easy and immediately beneficial, and we can also fix the occurrences of the background.
So. So did Bertrand say that we should open an issue? Please find a bug. What? What's the bug?
So there is no current theme, and he's trying to.
How can you have no current theme?
It's a fringe case. Yeah, punt it.
Sorry, what did you say? I couldn't hear you.
I say it's a fringe case. It should almost never happen, so just punt it. Future.
Yeah, I don't even understand how you can do it. It's not set to current.
There is code here that has another reference exception. Just test for now comes to mind, but but just put it in future. We don't need to spend time on this.
Variable number of parts. Oh dear. That's the one, I forgot the one. You know what? It's a very good suggestion.
Oh, it's the Captain America bug.
Yeah. I put it on future version.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. Sometimes it can be a bit unruly in order to find out where stuff is.
Maybe it could be more dynamic than that. It's like a good suggestion.
Yeah, the parts, using parts for doing that. This could be an alternate. And it would be then localizable. So I put it feature because it's a new feature. It's easy to do, again, if you want to do it. Hints. Hints are already localizable, but display names, descriptions, I agree. Well, yeah. So same.
I'm surprised they're not already. Like, are the display names not localizable already?
No, they are not. Like, for instance, the text field display name.
Oh,
No,
I see. Okay.
The descriptions, as you said. Hints are because they are part of shapes usually. Well, it
Sure.
depends. Yeah, settings or content type settings, for instance. So
The display name of a content type,
yeah.
or description of a dynamic field. Yeah.
No, I put it at, no, I don't want to put it in 1.7 future. No, when we do the localization stuff work. Oh, that's a bug. Yeah, that's a bug.
Mm.
Even with a new one? Mm.
What's the bug?
Okay. Okay. There is a fix. Okay, I also to test it after the new import tool.
Did you take the that guy who from Australia who demoed
Yes, Damien.
import? Yeah, he did he submit that stuff in the end?
Yeah, I need to do it later.
No, that's fine.
Same thing for widget drafts. Yeah, this one. Content type setting. Yeah. Same thing, future. If someone wants to delete, should be easy. Yeah, I agree. I think it's already open, and I have a design for that. Ah.
Yeah, the Russian thing is great.
Yeah, that's just the Russian. Yeah. But I have a solution. I show you. Last time I wanted to show you, you didn't answer, so. Recommend it. Okay, well. See. 42 items left. We are catching up with the triaging. It's good. And
how many active?
175.
Okay. Well, that's it for today then.
Yep.
Hey Sébastien, will you be available after the meeting for like 15 minutes? I would like to talk briefly.
Later.
Okay.
Cool. My lunch time.
Okay, so could you please ping me on Skype?
Okay.
When you get back? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, thanks everyone for coming today, and thanks to people who made demos, and we'll talk again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See ya.